Rotorheads with Nick, Sage, and Johnny. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is episode 25 of Rotorheads. How you guys doing? Jonas, you did some flying this weekend, right?
That is correct. I visited a friend in Frankfurt, the guy who built the Oblivion 300. And we did some flying in his backyard because he just built a new house and has a huge backyard, and we flew all kinds of stuff in there. And it was great. It was fun.
Nice.
I took like my entire inventory there. 300, 450, 700, the Raptor. And well, one of these helis did not come back in one piece, and I don't think I told you yet which it is.
Wait.
Yes.
What? You had a crash this weekend?
And it was the 700.
Nope.
Oh. What was it?
Well, that's good, because that thing, parts are hard.
Well, there's not much left. Just guess.
The Oblivion.
Yeah.
No, I want the Oblivion crash.
Obliterated. But not midair. I had some sort of weird failure.
Your hands?
No, my hands actually weren't involved because we have it on video and you can clearly see that the heli at one point just rolls out. Like, hey, we were flying sim, I can demonstrate this. I came in like that and then it just rolled over and slammed into the ground like that.
Ooh, that sounds painful.
Did like about a 90 degrees right roll without me doing anything, and like we analyzed it frame by frame on the video we have. Yes, we have video, 4K 60 FPS. So,
oh
my gosh, just super nerding. Just super
yeah,
nerding.
you haven't even seen it.
Yeah, you didn't even tell us about this.
Yeah, because I was busy driving home and not revving above 6,000 RPM.
He doesn't know how to race.
On a racing team.
The slowest racing team in the world, inbound.
Hey. It's not about how fast you get there. This is racing.
I think it took me 1.5 hours.
Could have done it in one.
What? I told you, this car will not go faster than 186 kilometers an hour.
So you said you had a failure on the Oblivion and it rolled right into the ground, and you guys were analyzing it frame by frame. Were you actually able to see like what happened at all?
We have
or
not
just,
yet seen anything. We've looked at the footage, you just see it rolling out and then just continuing the pulling command I gave, because I was like coming in inverted on like small hurricane pull around kind of thing, and then it just rolled over and then continued as normal as command because I was just pulling with no roll input.
For those that don't know, what setup do you have in it? What setup did you have in it? Like
YD40, a 10-year-old Scorpion 221314. Then we are running a Blade 300 main gear with what I put on was a 13-tooth pinion that gave me 3,600 RPM on SAB 280 Thunderbolts. Spectrum servos on Swash, which I suspect may have failed on me. Mini V-bar blue line with V-control satellite. And some stupid compass tail servo, which I'm not really happy about because compass and servos is a whole different story.
Those compass servos are KST 215s that are rebranded.
That is fucking hilarious. Oh my god. No, but anyway, yeah, it just rolled out on me without me doing anything. I have a couple suspects, servos failing on me. My transmitter laid in the rain that night before because I was too drunk to realize I should probably get it in before it starts raining.
So this may have not been the helicopter's fault at all.
No,
leave
but
your shit outside in the rain.
Yeah, but it worked like 10 flights before that. So I'm not too worried about my transmitter being faulty. Other than that,
It was just in the rain. Looks good to me.
yeah, I mean the rain didn't. It was just a couple of drops, not like pouring. But anyway, I
had flying in the rain ruin a satellite, Spectrum
Cool.
satellite.
So did you just like look at it the wrong way? I mean, it's a Spectrum satellite.
No, actually, for the longest time, I had no problems with them. But I did a bunch of flying in the rain at a fun fly, and then it wouldn't reliably bind.
That's sad. But to get back to topic, I have suspects. BEC bogging down and failing on me, but the logs do not confirm this. Servo just stopping to work. Them plugging in after the crash had them all working. I didn't really try to load them up or anything really because, well, I was just pissed that I crashed and I wanted to get home before it got dark. And let me see, V-bar, but I don't think so because that V-bar has been flying forever. Or it was just a swash plate falling apart, which is why I'm having my buddy send the 4K video over to me so I can just frame by frame zoom in on the swash plate. Because if the swash bearing would have popped out, which it totally can because the swash is laser sintered and it's just glued in and not like clipped in, then I'd have my cost there. But we shall see. I cannot give you a definitive answer yet. Yeah, and also V-bar log just says aileron sensor out of range. Twice. So probably rolled away out of the sensor range and then, I don't know. Don't think the V-bar would have put that into the log if it was really the case. Like the V-bar. But oh well. It's broken. Blades broke, frame broke, skids broke, tailbone broke. One tail blade was dead. We were flying amazing little VTX print blades, which I found to be the best 300 size tail blade I've ever had. But yeah, that's about the story of today. Crashed the poor little Oblivion and got a bunch of flights in on other helis. Oh yeah, if you know what the Oblivion project is, we're working on a V2 that redesigns basically everything that we ever made from plastic. Dampened rotor head, lighter, sleeker tail case that's easier to mount, new frame is coming, new canopy, new skids. It's pretty nice. Switching up those things.
So you got a bunch of flights on the Forza 450 and the E700?
I got exactly one flight on the Forza, and then I took out the 700 and realized, hey, this is fucking amazing. I'm just...
Okay, so you liked it?
I went low RPM on it. That's basically all it's gonna do now, because the low RPM on that thing is like basically a 690.
So what do you mean low RPM? Like, give us an idea of what you were flying it at.
6S in it, 1,100 RPM-ish. All up weight should be 3.5-ish kilograms on 697s.
Yep. Wow. So that's like 7.5 pounds.
What I'm considering currently
light.
is putting all old electronics in it, like really old, not the ones from my 600.
At about 8 pounds, I think.
Whatever it is in pounds, I am considering putting all old electronics on it and getting a second 690, like getting another 690 to fly with the proper electronics, because I don't think I want to fly the E700 at high RPM, because it's just seems too fragile. and
Yeah.
690.
It's pretty petite.
Yeah, and I know what I can do with the 690. I've flown for long enough, and I also know that I can get spare parts for 690 if I ever crash it.
Yeah.
So yeah, E700 is great for
Yeah.
low RPM, but I wouldn't really want to do more with it currently.
Totally
yeah,
understandable.
That's about it, I think. Oh, also the E700 auto's like fucking crazy. With the with the
What blades
torque
were you
tube,
flying on it?
you just bump into the rotor while like it's sitting on the table. You're walking past. You touch the rotor. It's gonna spin for like 2 minutes. That's about how it feels.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I've talked for nearly 10 minutes about stupid helicopters.
Oh man.
So
nobody wants to hear you
Nick,
talk.
do tell us a thing, but make it quick.
A thing. Okay, one thing. I didn't do any flying this past week. A thing.
Okay.
Done.
Oh.
I know, right? Surprise. Like the past 3 weeks I haven't.
Boom.
Nah, it's been gross weather.
No
been
interesting
cold.
full scale stuff either. Anything? Didn't hear any birds.
Nothing new. Just the usual. Just keep flying.
Yeah. Cool. Right on.
Yeah, I'm boring. That's it. Sage, Johnny, you got fun news.
Well, this has been a hard week for helicopters, I guess, because well, I don't know. Okay, so I went out on Friday after work. It was just super nice, and so we have, I don't know what's going on here, but in our little corner of the state, we've been having just beautiful weather. It's just like in the 60s, sunny, maybe a mild breeze, but mostly like no wind, which is kind of unheard of for October. For us, it's a little different, but it's really nice. And so I've been trying to take advantage of that and get out and fly the Nitros as much as I can. So I go out on Friday after work, and like the tail case is loose. It's not moving back and forward, but it's like rotationally like loose on the tail boom, and I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And I didn't even notice it. I noticed it like after I'd already started the motor, and I was going through all my like pre-flight checks and stuff. And I was like, oh crap. And so, I took it back over the car and I tightened up the pinch bolt for the tail case, and that was enough to lock it back in rock solid. And I did a flight and it was just fine. But before I went out to fly it again yesterday, I took it in and put it on the bench, and I just loosened the belt up, pulled the tail case off, and noticed that the pinch bolts were like basically the holes in the boom that they went through were like ovals. And so it was just like they weren't helping at all. And so I just rotated the boom and drilled a couple new holes and called it good. And put it all back together, went out to go fly. And like I'm flying along, I have like, I don't know, like a minute and a half into the flight. Everything's going great. And then all of a sudden I just like flame out and auto down, which I'm actually really amazed that I was able to even auto down, because I was probably like 70 feet up and like in the middle of a rainbow when the motor died. And so I didn't have a lot of height. And anyway, I managed to get it down, no problem. Went over, everything seemed normal. I went over, started right back up, idled, no problem. Okay, that's weird. Took it back up, flew about another 30 seconds or so, died again. Started it back up, running fine still. Take it out and hover it, do a punch out, died again. And I'm taking it back to the car one last time. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not restarting it this time. I'm just taking it home and whatever. I'll figure out what's later. And I look at it, and the clunk line had completely come off inside the tank. So it just like, it wasn't getting any fuel.
Why?
Because, okay, so I've been doing a little bit of reading, and thankfully, so Chad Carlin has been kind of like my Nitro guru. He runs the Nitro Nation Facebook page and stuff. You guys should check him out. If you haven't and you fly Nitro, it's a cool place to chat Nitro and stuff. And anyway, I was like, so what do you do for clunk line? And there's a couple things that I guess I do that or don't do that I should do. So you're supposed to soak the clunk line in nitro, I guess, because otherwise, for whatever reason, you get micro like cracks in it that will spread. And then somebody else I read said never cut them with like scissors or plier snips or anything, because it like splits the end. And I have been basically using the same thing I cut my zip ties with, the little like side cutters. And so they said always cut it with like a razor knife, and so I'll do that when I set it back up. I ordered all kinds of different goodies to try too. I ordered some of the Synergy Nitro clunk line, so I'll try some of that. Because I've had a problem with this link stuff ever since I first started with it. But a lot of people don't have any problems with it at all. So I'm guessing it's something that I'm doing wrong more than like it being a bad product. It has a really tiny ID as well. Like it's way smaller than the rest of the fuel tubing, and it looks like the Synergy stuff's a little bit bigger. So that would be nice anyway, because I don't want to. You're restricted to basically whatever your smallest piece of tubing in the chain is going to be your restricting point.
What I'm wondering is, why did it even start back up and fly again if it was not getting any fuel?
Because it was like I'm guessing it was just enough. Yeah, because when I was done, it's still like the level of fuel in the tank is still over where the pickup is. So it would still start and stuff. But once it started moving around and stuff, it would just suck air.
Starve.
And it didn't like that. Yeah. Poor thing got
It's amazing how low most nitros will actually pull fuel out of the tank though.
Oh, dude, I'm using the Lynx fuel magnet in there, the MOAS
like a foam on them.
And that thing will literally suck every last drop of fuel out of the tank.
Yeah, I always found that amazing. Like when I was watching people, like when I even had my nitro, how low it would actually pull before it would suck air.
Yeah, it's insane. But I'd try not to run it that low. But I've flown it all the way out of fuel till it died before, and get to the tank and there's no fuel in the tank. There's like 3 drops on the wall of the tank, and you're just like, what the.
Yeah, right. For how much it like splashes around, you'd figure there would be like no way for it to actually pull all of it out, but it does.
Yep, it does a great job of it. But yeah, so anyway, I'm gonna be waiting on that stuff, and then I ordered some more Nitro line because I have a cool new toy coming next week, or this next week, and so I'll talk about that next week.
What is it?
Nope. Next
just
week.
Do that.
I think I know.
Yeah, I can. I think you bullshit.
Can we make guesses? I will say it's the Gaui NX4.
Yeah. Oh my god, I knew what it was.
Yeah,
I just didn't want to say it.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty excited, but we'll talk more about it next week because I hopefully will have it in my hands at that point. So I'll have actually something to talk about other than I'm just super excited for it.
Yeah, sounds cool. Gonna sound like an annoying little dog when it's flying, but the idea sounds cool.
Yeah. It is. I don't know. I don't want a 600, right? Because if you're gonna have a 600, you might as well have a 700. I've had a 600 electric before. I just don't
kind of pointless.
Okay. So before anybody lets me know, there's tons of advantages. 50 size engines use a lot less fuel than 90 size motors. Like
if you don't fly a 700.
No, but all I'm saying is I want a smaller nitro. If I want a smaller nitro, I want a 500 size nitro. I like the 500 size. I just want a nitro. And so the NX4 is going to do that because it's stretched for 500.
I'm going to say it again. Turbocharge it.
Oh, down that route.
I mean, it works with cars.
I mean, apparently not.
Yeah.
You won't even redline yours.
Mine is not. Mine is naturally aspirated.
Yeah, I know. But you need a turbo.
Oh, but you can get that turbo kit on
But
eBay.
it's gotta
the
be
leaf blower.
Oh, bro, can you fill the
V-Tech! Yo.
Anyway, so does anyone have anything productive to add to this?
No.
Before we start going down that road of getting way
Nope.
off topic again.
No, I think I'm happy to call that good for my week.
Right, so
Yeah, I don't think. I flew flame. Yeah. All those flameouts I had 3 different flameouts. They were all decent autos back in. So
I mean, it's in one piece. So
no damage, no problems. Yeah, it's just I need to fix that clunk line before I go fly again.
So that was everyone's weeks. On to our topic
Yes, sir.
of the day. Servo.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
no news
no,
this
there's-
week, right?
Was there? No, there was no news that I seen.
The industry is boring, or we are just unobservant.
Yeah. No, I actually really haven't seen anything. I've been on heli freaking stuff lately. No one's posted
Yeah. I mean,
anything worthy of news. Like, I mean, there's been like little random things, but
yeah. Nothing of real importance.
no. We could talk about people making very original
Alright.
things that aren't original, like 3D printed Neo cases.
Oh. Oh yeah, that's right. Link's okay. Well, there's a couple things. Link's 3D printed Neo cases. It's pretty sad that somebody else had to design a case because Mikado couldn't fix it themselves.
Yeah, you're right.
That's all I gotta say about
All I have to
that.
add is it's funny how Lynx is like how original we are, yet there's been like 18 different other people that have made 3D printed Neo cases.
Oh yeah. No, I know. 516 started shipping as well.
Oh,
Synergy 516 started shipping.
We are behind with the sim.
Yeah, you are. Slacker.
Mm. Yeah, it's coming soon though.
He-
I'll be
I'm
racing.
already flying Synergy for the hype.
That's why you picked it today.
Yeah, that's totally
Sure,
the
let's
reason.
go with it. Yeah. So yeah, the 516 to ship. They
Okay.
looked like decent kits. I personally don't like them, but it's all personal opinion, right?
Yeah, for sure. I will say that it has the sexiest manual
Yeah.
alive
Oh, I still never
Of
looked into
any-
that. you
of
said
any
that.
helicopter I've ever seen. Dude, it is glory. I was looking through it, doing the model, trying to get all the right materials and stuff on it, and yeah, it is a
Well,
gorgeous
what makes
manual.
you say that? Just out of
Very well
question, 'cause
done.
I haven't seen it.
It's just the way it's laid out. I mean, it's obvious that they took a lot of time in it. They did a good job. It's just graphically well
Yeah.
done. It's well organized. It's really hard. When you look at it, you'll see exactly what I mean. It is above and beyond any manual I've seen in the hobby. You will go, oh, okay, that's exactly. Yeah,
Are they
it's just
life-size pictures?
it's really well done. Well, the pictures are huge. It's all CAD. It's all from CAD, but just like the graphic design of the entire manual is really
good.
well done.
I found
Oh,
it
it's-
funny looking through that
Yeah.
manual, like, hey, I've seen that 3D model before. Huh.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right on. Yep. I have no hands-on time with the 516. I'm guessing I'll see a couple next season at Fun Flies in the Northwest because we have some Synergy guys around here that like their
Canopy
Synergy
is
stuff.
unbelievably sexy.
Yeah, that's the one part of the thing that I don't love all that much
what I
about
was
it.
gonna
But
say.
yeah,
I've never been a
that's
fan of the Synergy canopies,
I-
though. But
well, that one's way
Yeah.
different than all the rest of their canopies.
that
though,
one,
too.
it's the best
But
out of
it's-
all theirs, though. I will say that.
766.
I don't know.
Well,
Cuff.
The 766. Oh wait, cough cough. Good cough cough. Bad.
Cough, cough. That's it. Just cough. Not gonna say anything.
What?
else.
Cause good God.
It's the best helicopter out there, though. You know.
Like, I
So
don't hate it.
next topic. uh,
But I do think that about covers it
Yeah,
for news,
that's
right?
Yeah.
I mean,
really
I can't
it.
think
There
of
hasn't
anything
been
else.
really much news. So
Here.
news, topic of the week, right? Servos.
Yeah, yeah, servos. I figured we could talk some servos today. I mean,
So
yeah.
let's start with basics. What is in a servo?
Things.
Things.
magic smoke.
Things that make things move.
Don't let
if
it out.
magic smoke is out, it will not work anymore.
This is true.
I know that magic smoke lives in all RC
So are
electronics.
servos
and it makes
just like
it all
rebranded
magically go.
ESCs? Like they have smoke, right? Do the same
Everything
thing?
has smoke.
Yeah,
Even motors
exactly.
have smoke.
Yeah, you found that one out.
But Nick,
Okay,
I
so-
think you already listed
Oh.
what's in a servo earlier, so go ahead, do that again.
I mean, Sage did. I just added one thing.
Okay. Let's test your memory.
So servos
Okay,
are-
so servo.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have a motor, you have the gear set, you have the chassis of it, you have the what's that fancy board called? You called it something real fancy. The control board is what I'm going to call it, because that's what it
That
does.
works.
You have the
It does.
outer casing that goes on each end, and you also have the, did I say the potentiometer? I don't know if I said that. I lost my
Not
list.
yet.
Yeah, so a potentiometer.
You got
That's
it.
that's
That's-
about
that's
it.
Pretty
You
much
have
it.
wires, because you need
Yep.
those.
You do need those. Okay, so now let's push you a little bit
Okay.
further, Nick.
Just so everyone knows, I suck at the
Can,
electronics of these things, because that's why they're trying to make fun of me and question me right now. So,
I think the next question is gonna be
No, we're not making fun.
How
It's a
does it
learning
work?
experience.
um,
Yeah. What do these different parts?
so the board tells
do?
things
How
to
do they-
move. The motor
Whoa.
makes things move.
So far,
the
so good.
potentiometer,
Okay.
the potentiometer reads the movement
Pretty darn
to
good.
tell what it's moving, and then it moves things. Yeah. That's
Okay,
There you go.
but where does the motor move it, and where does the potentiometer read the movement?
Well, on the opposite ends of the gear train. I know that. I don't know how you explain that through words. But I could do it through a picture if I had a picture. Yeah, I don't know how you explain. How do you explain that through words? You do it.
Yeah, actually, I would
I don't
like
know
to
if is it gear reduction? Is it is it the same gearing as the motor? I don't really know that answer.
It is a really strong reduction
Is it
from
okay?
the motor to the output spline. I think we once looked at a servo that was about 125 to 1.
Dang, quite a bit.
Could probably
Wow.
be even more, because you have really, really fast small motors in there that do not output a lot of torque. So you can spin
Right.
these things up to
Right.
a couple thousand RPMs in basically no time, but they will not have any torque really. So you put that through a, like 125 was just one example where every gear stage was like, I don't even know, but yeah, so you increase the torque a lot and reduce the speed. And where the potentiometer comes in is directly under the output spline, so it reads the absolute position of the servo, feeds that back to the PCB. That does some PID magic to match the output spline position with the commanded position via the servo input signal lead. So you have an input of I think ppm that is 1000 to 2000 microseconds, and like
Right. That's what that 1520 or
exactly.
the 760 you see for like a tail servo, and that's the centering pulse, right?
1520 is like center, 1000 is one extreme, 2000 is the other extreme. And depending on where that is, the control board expects the potentiometer to be in one specific position, and if it does not match, it spins the motor until it matches. Pretty much like a normal control loop on the flywheelless, the tail, motor. Our entire helicopters just work based on PID control loops.
I was just thinking that when you mentioned that the motor, you said PID magic, to match the the expected, whatever set point that the logic board thinks it needs to be at to get the motor to and the servo. Yeah, it's just amazing. Basically anything with a motor needs PID in our helicopters in one way or another. I mean, I guess you could get away with out much PID on the main motor if you weren't running a governor, but the minute you run a governor on that, you're back into PID
Correct.
tuning.
And
but you can't generally PID tune your servos. You're relying on the manufacturer to have done that work for you, and that can separate a good servo from a bad servo.
They
right?
usually do a good job on that, but yeah, PID can make a lot of difference in servo feel.
So I mean, does it help with like chattering and noisy servos too? I mean, is that part of what you're seeing is maybe sloppy PID work?
Noisy servos is,
I don't know. Not noisy as in like when they make noise they're loud. Noisy as in they continually make noise.
I mean, through that very strong reduction, you may need a couple complete revolutions of the motor to get the output spline to move at all, because gear slop also amplifies with the reduction ratio. So if your potentiometer is not like the absolutely greatest, or you have a bit of pressure on the linkage or something, the PID loop is just continuously going to spin the motor left and right, trying to match that position. Just trying to hold it. I mean, that's not a bad thing. No servo needs to be that quiet if it's stationary. I mean...
No, for sure. I just know that in my experience, I've had, on the same helicopter, I've had servos that make a lot of noise when they're just basically just powered on and sitting there, and servos that are dead silent. So it's just noticed a difference sometimes.
That applies to both coreless and brushless servos. Like, it's basically the same principle, just with a different motor type.
Right.
And to also mention something, I think nothing beats a good coreless servo. A brushless servo can never reach the performance of a coreless servo in terms of snappiness and response time.
Why is that?
Because the brushless motor needs commutation from the ESC, like basically ESC, because that's what it is.
Right.
You need to commutate the field, you need to make it spin, you need to apply like the correct PWM to it to get it to the right speed, and it's also just more inert due to that. And on a coreless servo, you just apply a direct current and it spins on its own, depending on how much how much voltage you put on it. It's gonna spin at different speeds. That's as easy as it is.
Sure. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I've heard you mention that before, and I have brushless servos. In the past, I've used coreless servos. I've never really noticed that much of a difference.
I mean, guess why Carl Stacy flies BK 7000 1s and 2s instead of the 8000 series on all models?
I'm guessing because they, like you're saying, they have a sharper response.
That's the reason. Even Bert Camera said that once in an interview at some French competition. Just go coreless if you want to smack, because it's just quicker. If you want to speed, if you want to fly speed with your helicopter, need insane holding power and stuff, then you can go brushless, because brushless are usually the more like the stronger servos, but the quicker ones are the coreless ones.
Yes. Okay.
Also, brushless servos just have a longer motor life, but usually the potentiometer dies way before the motor, so I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, and then that brings up another point, and something that I've seen, and this may be somewhat of a fad thing. I think we'll see. I haven't seen a lot of manufacturers doing this, but Hall effect servos. So getting rid of the potentiometer and using a Hall effect sensor
The
instead.
problem with Hall effect
You know?
sensors is that they're really prone to outside magnetic fields, at least as far as I know.
Right.
Like, if you hold a magnet to the servo, it's probably done. I'm not too informed on it, but that's what I learned in school back then. Hall sensors only work reliably when there's no external magnetic field present. And I've also seen enough Hall effect sensor servos just die from a hard blow to the frame, like just a crash. They are a lot more likely to die from what I've seen. Don't quote me on that, but that's basically my experience.
Yeah, I don't know much about them at all. From what I've seen, they're just like way more expensive, so I haven't, it didn't seem to me. And then I understood the same thing as what you were saying, that they have issues with magnetic fields and stuff, and so if you're cramming a Hall effect sensor inside of a case with a little magnetic field generator, it just seems kind of strange to me, but I don't know. Some people have used them, and I've seen good reviews.
Yeah, and if anyone is wondering what a Hall effect sensor is, just to sum it up, you pass a current through a conductor, and if a magnetic field is applied to that conductor, the electrons are gonna deviate from their path and create a voltage like perpendicular to the path of the current. So you can measure a voltage across that conductor 90 degrees to the like plus minus of the current source. So it's completely relying on change of magnetic field, so no mechanical connection, at the cost of easy disturbance through outside magnetic fields. Pretty much a potentiometer is just a, how do you describe that? A carbon like race with a little arm that connects to it, and
it's
if you
a little brush.
with a little brush. Right, thanks. And if you turn the output shaft, it's just gonna vary the length of the that carbon path that's used for conducting current. So you have a changing resistor basically, and measure the position of the potentiometer through that. So it's mechanical, but it is not easily disturbed through outside factors. Yeah, that's pretty much what I was getting at.
Yeah, potentiometers are often called pots too. So like you'll hear people talk about it like they're pots in their radio, and the gimbals in the radio, or
yeah, and you should also be worried if you hear people talking about pot if they're not in RC aviation. Okay.
Well, that got real off topic real fast.
Okay, how are we gonna continue?
I'm just glad that you guys went from having me trying to explain it to him just going on and on about all this super in-depth stuff that I could never explain in my life. So yeah, thanks for taking over that section there, because I was falling behind quickly. Sure. But at the end of the day, it's things that still move things. So why overcomplicate it?
It is.
Okay, so let's start with the part people actually care about. What servos do we fly and why?
Sure, yeah. I can go first. I don't mind. Okay, so on my big helicopters for the last 2 seasons, I've run the Torque HV brushless servos. They're the Outrage Torque servos. MKS basically rebranded MKS servos. MKS 960s, I think, is basically what they are.
Interesting. I didn't even know 980s.
Yeah, I didn't know that either until I went to buy gear sets for the Outrage, and the
fanboy.
Okay.
No, because I just ordered one of those, the 990, which I'll explain once we get to me. But
Okay.
so
Anyway, they are they're basically an MKS rebrand. It's the exact same case, exact same gear set and stuff. I don't remember exactly what it is off the top of my head, but it's drop in fit. I ordered a couple last year to replace gear sets in the Outrage servos. They've worked great for me. I've had one die so far. I had one tail servo die, and it just like crapped out on me. All of a sudden, I
In
have no
flight
idea
or
what.
during startup?
At the very end of a flight,
And then
like I was literally coming into land, and the helicopter started to pirouette out of control.
we had jump pedal and jump pedal recovery videos in our group chat.
Yeah.
Basically.
It was basically that, except for it did like one uncommanded pirouette, and I was like, oh, okay, nope.
nope.
Land, throttle hold, land. And so, and then I went over, and like the tail servo was just dead, not responding. I was like, well, couldn't have had better timing.
Do that in flight, and
yeah.
Well, good luck landing.
Yeah, right. Well, I've actually had a couple not so bad issues. I've gotten decent at landing with after having tail failures. I had Goblin 500 2 years ago, where this was the year I did the competition. This was the night before the competition. I just had a tail grip eject.
Cool.
And just fucking
sounds like you did a good job.
I had to fix it because that was my helicopter for the competition. Yeah, I don't know. It had been hundreds of flights, and I have no idea. Anyway, no big deal. Yeah. So flying and then I have KSTs on the warp, KST 215s on the warp, and there's no reason to fly any other micro servo on a 450. Those do HV. They're like $25 a pop. There's absolutely no reason to use anything else, in my opinion. They're plenty strong, plenty fast.
Yep.
And then let's see, midsize. I've used ever since I've had the Goblin 500 years ago. I used the BK midsize servos in it. I had all kinds of issues with I got the Goblin 500 that came with the electronics combo, and so it had the Black Goblin edition mini servos in it, and I had like 4 of them burn out, never in flight, luckily, but I had like 4 of them burn out, and they had issues with them, and they eventually just sent me a set of the mini servos in a blue case, and I haven't had a single issue with those, and I'm using them in the EXO. They're just great servos. Stripped all 3 of them when I crashed the EXO last time, so that was dandy, but other than that, they've been fantastic. And then the NX4 is coming with the Gowie servos, which I think are like Hyperion rebrands or something. So that'll be.
I didn't even know Gowie and Hyperion had servos. Jesus.
Yeah, Gowie also had V-Bucks.
Yeah, Hyperion servos used to be like the big deal, man. A lot of people used to like the Hyperion servos because they were a decent servo and they weren't a ton of money. Like 6 or 7 years ago when I first started the hobby, Hyperions were like big time around
that
here,
was
like in the US.
Before my time.
Yeah.
I guess I was like a little kid. It was before my time.
I know,
it was
right?
6 years ago.
No, like before my time in the hobby.
Yeah, I know.
That was literally when I started flying in 2010. And I was
still suck.
Well, I mean,
So, that's what you run, Sage, right?
So that's what I run. And I haven't had, like I said, like I haven't noticed any real issues. Like there's nothing about what the stuff that I fly that I've gone, oh, well, I need to like upgrade these servos or anything. Like, I don't know. I mean, obviously I wouldn't buy the Outrages if I had to buy servos today, because you can't unless you buy them used.
They did.
They're not available. But I don't know. I have a set of experts that I'm gonna try to, but they're not the black case. They're the older
they're
orange
not the
ones.
Kyle Dahl edition.
I looked at the specs on them, and they're freaking monsters. So
Do they live up to their specs? Because
yeah.
most servos don't.
I think so. But they're like $150 a pop. So I mean, I wouldn't have bought them new.
Yeah.
So
Me either.
But I'm looking forward to trying them because I've only ever heard good things about them.
Okay. Do report how they do.
Yeah, I totally will. But what about you? What do you look for in a servo?
Who? Me.
Yes, you're the last one to talk.
Much torque, much speed, much wow. Basically.
Wow.
So you're outfitting all your stuff with KD1s.
You wish. Nope. I don't believe in stuff that's branded with names of people.
But it's been redone. They're better.
Oh, they are. Yeah, change the control loop a tiny bit and call it new. That's also what BK did. That's what basically everyone does.
That's what everyone in the hobby does. It's how you make more money. But
Yeah.
that's business.
I mean, I do fly BK servos in my 700 and the other 700 that was a 600 before. But only because they were cheapish and Kyle recommended me these 7002s and I believed him that they were a great servo, and I mean, I couldn't complain. They do everything I want and they're crisp enough for my flying style, so why not? They were €100 per piece and I think that's totally okay for a servo. 7001s in my E700 and Logo 600 were just because a friend said, hey, I have them sitting around, I'm gonna give them to you for €10 a piece, and I was like, okay, here's cash, send them to me, please. Thanks. Yeah, that's how I got to 7001s, and well, why not? They work. And honestly, if I were to buy a 700 servo today, I would go for KST 815s, because they cost like €60 for a servo with 200 Newton centimeters of torque. That is more than enough for a 700.
Probably what I would do too. That's what I put in. That's what I put on as my throttle servo on my.
Also,
Nitro.
I would just buy KST servos to annoy Compass guys. They hate KST because they claim they like KST are cloned MKS servos, while MKS actually buys parts for their servos at KST and stuff. But oh well.
I mean, let's face it though, at the end of the day, none of these guys are really buying parts. They're just making them in the same factory and sticking a different label on at the end.
There's a few different servo factories.
Yeah, that's what I mean though. They're all making the same shit.
Yeah.
Like there is Servo King, which, yes.
Exactly. Because KSTs and Servo Kings aren't made in the same place. But a lot of your favorite servos are made by either KST or Servo.
BK come from Servo King, and oh my god, do you remember CJQF?
No.
CJQF were these atrociously badly copied BK servos that were like from the Oxy guy, Rich Knapp. He was like the guy behind them, and he just had Servo King rebrand BK servos without Bert's permission and wanted to sell them. And yeah, there's one group on Facebook that's absolutely cancerous and that fanboyed these things to hell.
Wasn't there didn't like OMG servos do the same thing?
OMG servos? I don't even know. I just know they fail a lot and kill people.
OMG servos just had a bunch of failures, and then for whatever reason they had issues in the US getting those failures covered for their pilots and
is that what happened? I knew they did something weird.
Yeah. No, there was just like warranty coverage issues basically. Like their servos were failing all over the place, and then at the end of the day they just weren't covering good because all the servos turned out to be shit.
And I mean,
basically, I think is what happened.
All servo manufacturers have issues sometimes, but there are different ways to handle it. If you have a dead BK servo, you can mail Bert and he's just gonna send you a new one.
Dude, Bert will have you a new servo before you realize your servo's about to fail. That dude is almost magic on customer service.
That was actually a major factor when I bought the 7002s, because I knew if something's wrong with them, I'm probably just gonna be fine.
Yeah, I honestly, like, there are a lot of good retailers and a lot of good people in this hobby, but as far as like customer service goes, I've not had any better than at BK. When I was having issues with those mini-size servos failing, it wasn't like, there was no question. It was just like, okay, got a new one in the mail for you. Yeah, no problem. If you have any issues, let me know. It's no big deal. We got
That's how it should be everywhere.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yep.
It should be, but I mean, it's also extremely difficult to do that.
Also, you cannot prove how your servo failed.
Yeah.
And that's like the biggest issue.
I mean, it's...
Well, I mean, like the customer service, like them being there all the time, being like, yeah, we'll help you with anything. So it's
the same for rotor blades. They even write on the packaging. Wait, I have the rail blades packaging right here. It says, warning, this is not a toy. The manufacturer and sellers assume no liability for the operation or the use of this product. Improper use, blah, 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 is death. Intended for use by adults only, blah, blah, blah. We cannot maintain any control over its operation or usage. Same for servos. But Bird still
no, it's, I mean, anything that you put in the air like that.
Props to Bird.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I mean, if you have companies with bad blades, they'll help you out sometimes, though. I mean, not if you, like, crash them.
Yeah, unless it's a line. Line.
Well, that's a different story.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I've seen some brutal blade failure stories from a line, but... That's
Zeal.
I think we already covered that in episode 3.
Yeah, I've just seen some brutal denials from a line where it's just like email
Our
chains.
blades are great.
Where they're just like, oh yeah, no, you don't understand. It's not our problem.
When it's in the broken Chinese conversion.
Stupid Hawk RC.
Yeah.
I mean, Hawk is not a bad company, but they just have some fuck-ups with blades sometimes.
So servos.
Yeah, servos, right.
Yep.
As we go down again.
Did you know that Align used to rebrand Servos servos a lot?
They used to rebrand every servo.
Right. In the meantime, in between time, they switched to something different, which I don't know what it is because we didn't do research because we suck. But like DS610s are Servos 1258s and DS650s are Servos 1290s and that kind of stuff. Interchangeable. I know someone who flew Servos and Align on the same swash plate and was just fine because it's the same exact thing.
Yeah, basically same servo.
And Servos are actually okay to use. They do not stick to their specs too much. Their torque is a bit lower than specified, but I flew them for a while on 600 and 690 and they're okay servos. I would never fly anything below standard size because these are just too prone to failure. One of the Servos guys actually told me that Servos, some 450 servo, that was like the standard 450 servo in 2012. He said in a flywheelless 450 he gives them 10 flights until it fails. One of the Servos officials.
Oh really?
Yep.
I had Servos on a 450 and I had no issues with them. They were
I had
great.
them in my 250.
But that was when I was learning too. And then I ran them on my first 600 and they were also great there. And I still have a Servos mini size tail servo on the warp. 1257 or MG or something like that. Got orange camo case. It's really dumb looking.
Yeah, I know they also had that on 1290 for a while. Servos are okay if you buy standard size. I would not trust them in anything smaller. I had one fail on my T-Rex 500. Only way I noticed was that the rotor would twitch back once at spool up, and then I shut it off and looked and the servo was about to die. would have been a disaster. But yeah.
Well, it was a T-Rex 250, so I mean, let's not get
500.
out of hand with. Oh, I thought you said T-Rex.
I think I said 500. If not, then I am sorry because I cannot fly and talk at the same time.
T-Rex 250, crash that, no great strategy.
Yeah, 250. Yeah, it was a great strategy because the screws sucked. You could not take that thing apart. Oh god, but that's off topic. So back to servos. On tail servos, I am weird. I am totally weird on tail servos. I love Futaba tail servos. I still think they're one of the best tail servos on the market, but I would never buy a Futaba swash servo because they don't even bring half the torque they advertise. And they try to make their servos look better by giving speed numbers on 45 degrees instead of 60, because that instantly makes your servo look, I don't even know how much faster, but like... Yeah.
There's issues with this. With the ratings and stuff, though. I mean,
yeah, it's 1/4 faster over 60-degree rating, and I'm like, dude, why? Yeah,
ratings in themselves kind of suck though, because there's no standards for the ratings. You know what I mean? There's no standards organization to make sure servos are putting out what they're rated at, and there's no measurement standard for actually what they have to measure to give you, the 60-degree measurement or whatever.
I mean, it's pretty obvious what you have to do from start moving to stop moving over 60 degrees and done. Just measure time.
Yeah, it does seem that obvious, but when you get down to it as a manufacturer, are you going to cheat a little bit and give the time it takes for it to accelerate and get to 60 degrees? Or are you going to wait and give the actual time that it takes to get to 60 degrees, decelerate back, and actually hit the 60-degree mark? That takes more time.
I have no clue.
You know what I mean? There's no standard that tells a manufacturer exactly what they have to measure. So they can go, okay, 60 degrees. As soon as it passes the 60-degree mark, that's how fast it was. So there's a lot more to it than that, and that affects the speed, So like, I don't know.
I mean, you're right.
Do you have one of those servo testers?
Not.
I don't either. I know that
I'll say my charger has it built in, but I've never used it. Never used it.
You should tag your MKS servos, because I've never been a fan of MKS. They always seemed way slower and weaker than what's advertised.
Wait, so have you thrown away that servo that was bad on the tail yet, Nick? Did you guys toss that already?
It's sitting in the basement.
So you should put that on on your servo tester on your.
I mean, see, the thing is then I have to pull my charging case apart to get it plugged in, and then figure out how to do it.
Wow, you're a lazy fuck.
And no, I've heard that's like. It's like not that accurate, but I mean it's all based off. But then maybe that's super accurate, and all the boxes
compared to
are
a
wrong.
living servo. And stop.
Well, no, I'm just saying like everyone's like basing it off the numbers that are on the boxes. Well, if they lie on the box and you're getting a different number on your charger, well, there's proof that someone's not doing something right somewhere, or they're measuring it different.
Right, or it's just proof that exactly, or the measuring methodology is different, or you know what I mean? Because like. There's not a ton of manufacturers that have the brass balls to straight up outright lie. They're more likely to manipulate a fact, right? So I mean, there's some out there that will, but I mean, that's not the most common like methodology. Usually, there's some testing done, and you take the best results. You know what I mean? You test a small sample size, you take the best results, and you use those for your marketing stuff. So. No. What else do we got to cover about
what Nick
servos?
uses, because he hasn't said anything yet.
Yeah, Nick.
What
you use?
I did use those outrage torque servos for a while. On my 700s and stuff, and I don't know, I didn't really like them. I had issues with them, like blowing out and stuff. They wouldn't really hold very nice for me. And then I switched to MKS because we had them in my dad's 800. I put them in my 700, and they worked fine. They held great, and I haven't really had any issues. I did have an issue with an MKS tail servo though on my dad's 550. No matter what I did, the thing always shook. I could make it shake faster, I could make it shake slower, but it would never stop. No matter what I did, it would never stop. I think I might have explained this already.
Yes, the twerking tail.
I don't know. I might have, or maybe not. In another episode.
It was the Great Twerking Tail.
Yeah,
2017.
so that it did. Found out, had to switch the servo. The MKS 669 is a piece of shit, basically. Like, there's no way around it. I was the only one that had issues. I know a guy that said he's went through 2 of them already and had the same thing. So I put an MKS 990 in it, which is way overkill for a 550, but it works and it holds. So yeah.
Nice.
Other than that, I have the Servos in my 480, and I don't like them. It was a stock kit from Mikado at the time when I bought it, and it came with those servos, and I was like, all right, they have to be decent, right?
1250s, right? Oh yeah, 1250s
so.
are aligned DS 510.
Yeah, they're not even high voltage servos, and they're slow, and yeah.
I think they are high voltage.
No, the ones I have aren't. I've searched it.
I know someone who runs them on high voltage, and they work.
Yeah, there's a couple of those Savox servos that people run on high voltage, and conversely, the Aligns. I believe people used to run the DS610s high voltage.
You can do that. The Savox 12, 57, and 58s are pretty tolerant to high voltage.
Well, maybe I'll just crank mine up then and run them high voltage.
Don't blame us if it blows up.
I'll say, worst case, it starts on fire, right?
Yep.
Nick, you can run them high voltage, but don't blame me if you run them high voltage.
Basically what was just happening there. No, I looked at switching the servos out, but I don't fly my 480 enough to make it worth the money. I was switching out to like the BKs or something. It's just, I don't fly it enough.
Small heli. You should stretch it. Oh my god. Stretch 480 to 520 was still one of the best helicopters I've ever flown.
Not to re-gear it and everything. And that's just more time and effort, and
just the Mod 1 gears, but
and they've changed opinion, I think, too.
Yeah. Also, I know someone who modified his 480 to take standard servos for more punch.
Ooh, that would be good.
Was the same dude who did the 520, so yeah.
Do send mine to him and fix it.
Okay, that's just gonna be €1 billion in shipping and dollars and customs, and people are gonna hate you.
Because Germany's great, right?
Make Germany great again.
Stop, you're done. Get out.
Yep, I'm totally done.
So, that's servos in a nutshell. Do we have anything else to add about servos?
Brushless versus coreless. Oh yeah, the easy relationship between leverage and torque. Basically, the further out you go with your linkage joint on your servo arm, the less torque and the more speed you get out of your servo. You reach your rating at exactly 1 centimeter from spline pivot. So if you're 10 millimeters out on the servo arm, you get exactly the torque they advertise if the servo can do that, and you get exactly the speed they advertise. Obviously the speed is going to be the same, but for a certain amount of travel. If you go out to 20 millimeters, that torque is going to be cut in half, and your speed at which the servo can actuate is approximately going to double. It's not exactly, because it's describing an arc and sine.
Johnny later realized that what he said was complete trash, and that you in fact get exactly twice the vertical throw, and that's just 8th grade geometry. Right.
So, so don't blame a servo if you're running like a 40 millimeter lever and it's just not strong enough to do anything because you're cutting your torque in quarters.
Science.
That's good to know. Yeah, I never really thought about that before, like as far as like the consideration, because we don't really, we tend to look at our manual and go, oh, 15 millimeters. Okay, that's where it goes. You know what I mean? It's like, But yeah, that's a good thing to keep in mind, I guess.
Like all Mikado helis want you to go to 17 or 17.5 and
17.
Yeah, 17. 14, 17, and 21 are the options on the arms, I think. And, well, that's gonna reduce your torque quite a bit, so yeah, might want to think about servos then. But the good thing is that's pretty consistent about all helicopters, because you're gonna get approximately the same pitch range out of a given amount of servo travel. So it's gonna be pretty consistent across helicopters. There are going to be small difference. For example, if you have helis with really long bell cranks, you will be able to use slower servos because you need less travel to make the same throw. Or if you have really short leverage, you have to opt for faster servos. That may not be as strong, but generally you can generalize stuff to a certain amount of numbers. For example, on a 700, I would never fly a servo that has less than 150 newton centimeters of torque, and that is slower than 0.07 seconds per 60 degrees. That is for Mikado 700s and has also proven true for the E700 and for a couple other ones that I cannot remember currently, but there may be a heli out there. For example, the Rave ENV. From what I've seen in accuracy, that one is rather made for strong and slow servos instead of fast and weak ones.
Interesting. I've never taken that into account looking at heli airframes before. Never.
Yeah, as I said, mostly it equalizes out with different leverages that add up to a common leverage that allows you to run basically the same stuff on all helis, but some exceptions.
Interesting.
Oui.
So, is that now it? Before you guys go on another topic?
I think so.
Remember, servos, they do things, they move things. Make sure they're strong and fast.
You need 4 of them. 5 on a Nitro.
Exactly. That's servos. Done. Easy.
Yep.
All right. So, yeah, who wants to close this one out? Johnny, close it out.
Too late. You already fucked it up. Okay, so that's that episode about servos. We are just gonna end it here without a maneuver because we are already over an hour again. But I think we could do a maneuver next time. So if you want to see anything maneuver related, leave us a comment, write us an email, Facebook, contact us, whatever. All the links are down below. Let us know what you think about this episode, what you want to see in the future. If you have suggestions for topics, we are already always happy to listen. I cannot even talk anymore because I'm tired and I just want to go to bed and sleep. So,
wow.
Thank you.
They want to know that.
Thanks everyone for listening. See you probably next week or not because Nick is gonna be gone. So see you next episode.
You next week. All right. See you guys later.
See you later.